So, a very good afternoon, dear students. So, here we will know more about CTET February 2026. So, the Central Teacher Eligibility Test, which will be conducted on 8th of February. This paper is conducted in two shifts, paper 1 and paper 2. So in shift 1 in the morning, there will be paper 2 from 9:30 to 12 noon, whereas paper 2 will be held in the evening, that is from 2:30 to 5 o'clock. Okay, this is just an information bulletin for CTET February. So we will just see the syllabus of this CTET. I hope you all have filled this form. Yeah, so this page number 3. So, a structure and content of CTET. All questions in CTET will be multiple choice questions, that is MCQ, with four alternatives, out of which one answer will be most appropriate, each carrying 1 mark, and there will be no negative marking. So यहाँ पे क्या है कि CTET में आपको चार चार ऑप्शंस मिलेंगे एक क्वेश्चन के, और आपको एक करेक्ट आंसर चूज करना है, और यहाँ पे कोई नेगेटिव मार्किंग नहीं है। और पेपर्स जो हैं वो दो तरह के होंगे, पेपर 1 जो कि क्लासेस 1 to 5 के लिए, और पेपर 2 जो कि क्लासेस 6 to 8 के लिए। नोट: a person who intends to be teacher of both levels, classes 1 to 5 and classes 6 to 8, will have to appear in both the papers। और वैसे टीचर्स जिन्हें दोनों क्लासेस में पढ़ाने हैं वो दोनों के लिए एलिजिबल हैं, वो दोनों पेपर उनको देना होगा। सो अब देखते हैं कि हमारा सिलेबस क्या है। सो द फर्स्ट वन इज चाइल्ड डेवलपमेंट एंड पेडागोजी, दैट इज कंपलसरी। You will have to answer 30 MCQs of 30 marks. Second is mathematics, that is also compulsory. You will have 30 MCQs of 30 marks. Third is environmental studies, that is also compulsory. You will have to answer 30 MCQs, that of 30 marks. Language 1, that is also compulsory. There will be 30 questions and 30 marks. Language 2 is also compulsory. You will have 30 questions of 30 marks. So in total, you have 150 questions, 150 MCQs, and of 150 marks. Okay. So now let's see the nature and standard of questions. So the test items on child development and pedagogy will focus on educational psychology of teaching and learning relevant to the age group of 6 to 11 years. They will focus on understanding the characteristic and needs of diverse learners, interaction with learners, and the attributes and qualities of a good facilitator of learning. The test items in Language 1 will focus on the proficiencies related to medium of instruction. The test items in Language 2 will focus on the elements of language, communication, and comprehension abilities. So in total, you have to focus here. लैंग्वेज 1 में क्या होगा, आप जिस शैली में पढ़ाना चाहते हैं, वेदर इन हिंदी और इंग्लिश, आपको वो चूज करना था। ठीक है। लैंग्वेज 2 विल बी अ लैंग्वेज अदर देन लैंग्वेज 1, और आपका दोनों लैंग्वेज अलग अलग होना चाहिए। आप किसी एक लैंग्वेज को दोनों पेपर में नहीं ले सकते हैं। A candidate may choose any one language as language 1 and other language as language 2 from the available language options, and will be required to specify the same in the confirmation page. See, आपके पास बहुत सारे options हैं यहाँ पे। Like in language 1 you can take Hindi, English, Assamese, Bengali, Garo, Gujarati, Kannada, Khasi, Malayalam, Manipuri, मराठी, मिज़ो, नेपाली, उड़िया, पंजाबी, संस्कृत, तमिल, तेलुगु, Tibetan and Urdu. Okay. So now let's get further. The test items in mathematics and environmental studies will focus on concepts, problem solving abilities, and pedagogical understanding and applications of the subjects. In all these subjects areas, the test items will be evenly distributed over different divisions of the syllabus of that subject prescribed for classes 1 to 5 by the NCERT. सो आपको जो भी क्वेश्चंस आंसर करने हैं वो आपके एनसीईआरटी पर डिपेंडेंट होंगे और मेनली जो क्वेश्चंस पेडागोजी के आएंगे वो आपके अंडरस्टैंडिंग बेस्ड होंगे और आपको प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग एबिलिटीज को वो लोग आंकेंगे कि कितना आपको आता है. The questions in the test for paper 1 will be based on topics prescribed in the syllabus of the NCERT for classes 1 to 5, but their difficulty standard as well as linkages could be up to the secondary stage. Okay? Okay. Now let's see what is there in the paper 2. For classes 6 to 8, elementary stage, duration of examination 2.5 hours, structure and content all compulsory. So let's see the appendix. Child development and pedagogy, that is compulsory, 30 MCQs of 30 marks. Mathematics and science, 60 MCQs of 60 marks. Or you can have social studies or social science, 60 MCQs of 60 marks. Language 1, that is compulsory, 30 questions, 30 marks. Language 2, compulsory, 30 questions, 30 marks. Okay. So now let's see the nature and standard of questions. The test items on child development and pedagogy will focus on educational psychology of teaching and learning, relevant to the age of 11 to 14 years. They will focus on understanding the characteristics, need, and psychology of diverse learners, interaction with learners, and the attributes and qualities of a good facilitator of learning. The test items in Language 1 will focus on the proficiencies related to the medium of instruction. The test item in Language 2 will focus on the elements of language, communication, and comprehension abilities. Okay. Language 2 will be a language other than Language 1. Here in paper 2 also you have to choose two different languages. But like if you are from Bihar, you can choose one English and one Hindi. Okay. The test items in mathematics and science and social studies, social science will focus on the concepts, problem solving abilities, and pedagogical understanding and applications of the subjects. The test items of mathematics and science will be of 30 marks each. 30 marks के आपके मैथ्स आएंगे, 30 marks के साइंस आएंगे. Okay. The test items will be evenly distributed over different divisions of the syllabus of that subject as prescribed by the NCERT. Okay. The questions in the test for paper 2 will be based on the topics prescribed in the syllabus of the NCERT for classes 6 to 8, but their difficulty standard as well as linkages could be up to the senior secondary level. So आपको 12th level का 10th level तक का पढ़ के जाना है. Now let's see the language of the question paper. The main question paper shall be in bilingual, that is in Hindi and English. So, qualifying marks and award of CTET certificate. So, how much marks you have to bring so that you can qualify it. So, as per NCTE notification, a person who scores 60% or more in the TET exam will be considered a TET pass. School managements, government, local bodies, government aided and unaided may consider giving concessions to persons belonging to SC, ST, OBC, differently abled persons, etc., in accordance with their extant reservation policy. Should given weightage to the seated scores in the recruitment process. However, qualifying the seated would not confer a right on any person for the recruitment, employment, as it is only one of the eligibility criteria for appointment. Now let's see who all are applicable for applying to seated. सीटेट के लिए कौन से कैंडिडेट्स एप्लीकेबल हैं हम ये जानते हैं. The seated shall apply to schools of the central government, KVS, NVS, Central Tibetan schools, etc., and schools under the administrative units of Chandigarh, Dadra, Nagar Haveli, Daman and Diu, and Andaman and Nicobar Island, Lakshadweep, and NCT of Delhi. CTET may also apply to the unaided private schools who may exercise the option of considering the CTET. Schools owned and managed by the state government, local bodies, and aided schools shall consider the tests conducted by the state government. However, a state government can also consider the CTET if it decides not to conduct the state TET. According to CBSE affiliation bylaws, prescribing the minimum qualification for teachers to teach various subjects in classes 1 to 8 in the schools affiliated to CBSE standard amendment to that extent that it shall be mandatory that the teachers appointed hereinafter, that is from 6th of March 2012, to teach classes 1 to 8 in the school affiliated to CBSE shall qualify or pass the Central Teacher Eligibility Test or Teacher Eligibility Test conducted by the appropriate central state government in accordance with the guidelines framed by the NCTE for this purpose. So now let's see the validity of CTET certificate. The validity period of CTET certificate for appointment will be for lifetime for all categories. There is no restriction on the number of attempts a person can take for acquiring a सीटेट सर्टिफिकेट. इसका मतलब यह है कि आप सीटेट जो आपके पास सर्टिफिकेट रहेगा वो लाइफ टाइम के लिए वैलिड है और आप जितना मन उतना अटेम्प्ट दे सकते हैं. देयर इज नो एनी रेस्ट्रिक्शन. सो अब देखते हैं कि आपका एडमिट कार्ड कब तक आ जाएगा. सो आपको ई एडमिट कार्ड प्रोवाइड किया जाएगा. द कैंडिडेट्स में डाउनलोड ई एडमिट कार्ड फ्रॉम सीटेड ऑफिशियल वेबसाइट एंड अपीयर फॉर द एग्जामिनेशन at the given center. In any case of discrepancy noticed in e-admit card regarding particulars of candidate, photograph and signature or any other information which is different from confirmation base, he or she may immediately contact seated unit for necessary corrections. The candidate shall report at the exam center at 7:30 a.m. for paper 2 morning and at 12:30 p.m. for paper 1 evening, to be conducted on 8th of February 2026, that is 120 minutes before the commencement of the examination. Candidates who reports at the examination center after 9:30 a.m. in paper 2 morning and after 2:30 p.m. in paper 2 evening, to be held on 8 to 2026 shall not be allowed to appear in the examination. So इसलिए आप हमेशा टाइम पे जाएं एग्जाम देने पेपर 1 और पेपर 2 के लिए. The candidates are advised to read the instructions on the admit card carefully and follow them during the conduct of the examination. So, what more are the important parameters that you need to see? That is the display of the scanned copy for OMR sheet. This is after the exam process is over. You will be given your OMR sheet. Okay. So now let's see the detailed syllabus of the CTET for primary stage. Child development and pedagogy. Here are the list of the chapters. You can take a screenshot also. Okay. Concept of inclusive education, learning and pedagogy. In mathematics, you have geometry, shapes and spatial understanding, solids around us, numbers, height, weight, time, money. Okay, please take a screenshot of this page. This is very useful information. Take a screenshot of language 1 syllabus. Okay, I think you have taken the screenshot. Now take the screenshot of language 2. Okay, Now let's see the paper 2 syllabus. So in paper 2 elementary stage, you have first child development and pedagogy. Take a screenshot of the syllabus and please stick to the syllabus because this is very important for any exam. You have to stick to the syllabus. All those science background students, take screenshot of science and mathematics. Okay. Now all the students who are from social studies background, kindly take the screenshot of the syllabus of social studies, social science. The content is beginning from history, then geography, then social and political life, pedagogical issues, language 1. Okay, so this was the detailed syllabus of class from classes 1 to 8. Please refer to NCRT syllabus and textbook for more no- more more informations. Please take a screenshot of this instructions page also. Okay, thank you so much.